from Clarity Stamp here in the UK. Welcome to another craft along. I think you may be able to guess where I am with the company we have sitting behind us. Um, Good morning. Good morning. I'm used to Groovy Tuesday. Good evening. Now, I don't have a signal on my mobile here, so I'm hoping everybody can hear me. Jilly's in the room with you as well. So if you've got any questions, then she's there to ask. Good evening, Mo. I'm all good, thank you. Hope you are too. As I said, I haven't got a signal up in Barb's studio, so hopefully you can hear me. I can see we've got people joining in. Good evening, Jane. Jilly says loud and clear. Perfect. Okay. It's yeah, I'm at Barb's studio at the house whilst they're away. And Eric is joining us this evening for our craft along, aren't you, Eric? Eric, aren't you? Yes. Eric's going to get in the groove and do some partying with us. Hopefully, I'm sure he'll just curl up and sleep in a minute. So, yeah. Oh, here comes everybody. Good evening, everybody. Really looking forward to this evening. We're going to be using the third collection from Linda Williams, using her layering frames. And when we released those last month, the theme was Oriental. And you've really sort of fallen in love with these. I've seen some beautiful art week. I'm going to apologise now for any jargon and jabble and babble that comes out. So yeah, it's going to be a good evening, I think. So while we're waiting for everybody to pull up a chair and get comfortable, should we just have a look at the plates that we launched last month? Okay, let's see. It's different setup here. I'm used to everything over there. Barb's left-handed, so everything's over on this side. So we've got our ingredients list. If you want to go to our website, you can download a list of ingredients that we'll be working through during the course of the evening. It's claritycrafts.com. And if you go to a Moment of Clarity section, you'll see the information there, and there's a download. You can just download it, and then we can go through it in a little while and tick off everything that we're going to need. Okay, but let's have a look at the designs that lovely Linda created. I think it might be as if we look at the traced out plates, don't you? So we have the lovely pagoda, and this is the one that we're going to be working with this evening. It's so beautiful. You've got all these different frames. You've got these lovely photo corners. You've got this entwined frame. Now, obviously, I mean, you could have a go at doing that with like a nested square groovy plate. But think of the time and effort you'd have to put into that, whereas Linda has given that to us instantly on the plate. The next one in the collection is the geisha. I love her. I think just the pure elegance of the style and these gorgeous frames around the outside. There's so many different combinations of frames. It'd probably take me a couple of hours just to work out all the different layouts that you can have based just on this one plate. Then the third largest one in the collection, which these are all A4 square plates, this is the dotted cross stitch fan sort of tapestry effect, and you've got these lovely interwoven frames. I mean, look at the detail on these. It's really surprising how much detail you can get on a groovy plate with ease. And then, as always, with all of the layering frames collection, we have a companion plate, and this one here has the lovely sort of cherry blossom. Really hard to decide over the past 3 releases which is my favorite, because they all have something different, and you can mix and match all of them together. So you could take the frame from this one here and use maybe the country scenes inside, and so all of a sudden you're building up sort of like an encyclopedia of plates that you can just mix and match, because as we know, that's exactly what we can do with the Groovy system. So I thought what we'll do, just while we're warming up, so to speak, or I'm working out what I'm saying, should we have a look at some artwork from the design team? So let me pop these to one side, he says. Okay, so let's have a look at some artwork. So the first piece we're going to look at, this is a lovely piece created by Karen Jackson. And she's actually done these pieces separately on different coloured parchment and woven them in between all of the different elements. The next one is from the lovely Linda herself. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? Really, really beautiful. So this is a separate piece, and then that's been laid onto the outer frame, because you can see how that's a little bit more intense in the whiteness. Okay. Then the next piece is from Jill Askham. And for those of you that have been sort of following this journey, you'll notice that Jill's style, everybody has their own little style, don't they? Look at that pearlescence on there. So what Jill's done, she's used the pearlescent paint to paint on the front. I really love that effect. I may even give that a go at some point, because I really love what Jill has done. Look, and she's actually decoupaged some of these. And she's attached it by stitching around the inside with a pink thread. Let me see if I can come in. Oh, right, I've got to get used to this camera now. Hang on, number 3. So let me see, if you let it focus, can you see that stitching around the outside, just inside that dark pink frame? Isn't that gorgeous? But look at that shimmer. Absolutely beautiful. So she's used a pearlescent paint on the front. I want to give that a go, I really do. The next piece, now these two pieces are interesting. Let me move these out of the way. I'm going to pop those like that. Now the first piece, coming on the other camera, the first piece has been created by Carol Pangstello. And then this piece has been created by Francis. And can you notice the differences? I mean, obviously the style of finishing. What Carol's done, she's taken the actual groovy plate, so you have that lovely crisp white line art. But what Francis has done, she's used the plate in reverse. So she's turned it over so we're looking at the front of the plate, and then she's painted on top of it. Okay, isn't it gorgeous? Same design, same sort of concept, but just different techniques. And you've got the hills and the mountains and the sun in the background from the starter kit, which I know many of you have got. Then the next piece I love, I know I keep saying I love, but I do. The design team, they just do such a fantastic job. And every time I look at their artwork, I think, oh, I never noticed that before, or I never noticed this. So this one has been created by, I've gone out of sync on my list now. Let me just have a flip. This one is from Julie Campbell. So I worked out where I'm on my list now. Look, I wrote the list down so I could read out, so keep turning them over. So this one's by Julie Campbell, and she's then sort of matted and layered it onto paper and then just cut it out to create that lovely effect. This next piece, I'm sure you'll know exactly who's created this one. So this is Francis. This has got that beautiful sort of Wedgwood, that porcelain type of effect with that painting on the front. Then we've got a piece from the lovely Linda Williams. I love this sort of, it reminds me of sort of like ribbon weaving. And this is all clear parchment, and Linda's coloured on the back with that one. Then just shows how versatile these plates are. You can go big, you can go small, you can use elements of them. I mean, this piece here from Karen Jackson, just using that dotted frame. But look, it's a lovely little, I'd say that's a 6x6 card. Then after that, we've got another piece by Jill. So Jill's also is good at introducing beadwork to her designs. We've got another one from Frances. Now this is the dotted one, and what Frances done, she's dotted with the actual pearlescent paint here. And the next one is Karen Jackson. So I had to look at this one closely because I thought, oh, I can't see how Karen's attached it. So what Karen's done, she's taken a black piece of card, she's picot cut with the nested square around the outside, and then picot cut the middle of the card. So what that means is it's then creating a frame and the parchment is sitting behind. But when you look at it at first, you think it's the parchment that's been picot cut. Very clever. It's sort of, see what the design team do, they just play and they come up with different ideas. Then we have another piece from lovely Linda herself. Look at that cherry blossom. And then we've got the dotted frame around the outside. I mean, this technique, that lovely white work, and then the colour on the front, it really does blow me away every time I do groovy shows and the artwork starts coming in and I look at it and I think, wow, it really does. I'm not saying it surprises me, but it really, I look at the time and the energy that's gone in to create a beautiful piece of artwork. But what I do know is that it makes it more achievable because of the groovy system. And I'm sure many of our friends in the room who used to do parchment craft traditionally will agree that sort of creating that line art now more easily definitely makes it more achievable. So I think we've got quite a few people in the room already. So I've got no interaction from anybody because I've got no signal here. Look, Eric's, he's bored, he's fed up, he's turned his back on us, but he just wants company, doesn't he? So let's put these pieces of artwork somewhere safe. Okay, so as I said, on our website, we've created a download of ingredients. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to work through and then just tick off as I bring all my pieces together. Okay, many of you may have already done that at home so far. If you check out Barbara's blog, barbaragrayblog.com, you'll find a link there because I posted a blog earlier as well. Okay, so right, before we go to this tick list, let me show you where we're heading. Okay, this is the piece that lovely Linda created, and I love the colouring technique on this. And I touched on it very briefly when I demonstrated this on TV. So I thought we'll have a go at this one and we'll have a play and do a couple of little different tips and tricks. Now, Linda also created a second piece of artwork where she's combined the frame around the outside in the traditional sort of groovy with that white line art. But then on this one, she's done like what many of our friends have done, painted on the front. Okay, completely different look. Do I have a favorite? Oh, I don't know. For me, my skill levels still, because I'm still learning as well, would be this one, because I do love that effect of that white line art. Okay. But we're going to take it nice and easy this evening, and we're going to go with this version. Okay, so in order to be able to create that, we only need 2 plates really, but I know many of you have bought the complete set. So if you've got the complete set, then we'll get that out. So let's have a look. If I pop that to that side, but really I need the pagoda plate, and if we decide to do what Linda has done with these lovely cherry blossom on the inside, then we'll need the companion plate. But at this point in time, I'm undecided on whether I want to go with the designs on the plate as it comes or introduce some of the blossom. Okay, so I've got those, so let me tick that off my list. Layering frame set 3, pagoda layering frame, and my companion plate. Okay. Now, because we're going to be working with A4 parchment, which I have to the side, so I'm going to tick that one. Okay. I'm going to be using the PlateMate for A4 and A4 square grids. And we was using this on TV with the new one-day special. Right. And we only really need we don't need the adapters for this one. Okay, so I'm going to pop it up, these groovy tabs. I have so many of them. Okay, so we don't need those, but we need that. So not essential. If you haven't got it, you can still work your way around it. Okay, but it does make a difference. Okay, groovy starter kit. Now from the starter kit, what we're going to need, again, I know many of you have got that at home. We need our tumble dry sheet. We are going to need, where have I put those? I haven't taken them out of my bag yet. I've got a little tray here where I put everything in that I knew. It's like an operating station. Let me just stretch around and grab the tools that I need. There we go, just behind me. But it's like a little operating tray. We're going to need our number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 tools. And that's all we're going to need. I mean, I'm using the A3 black mat, but if you've got the A4 one, that's perfect. So tick that box. Definitely need my groovy guard. Never have too many groovy guards. There. Then my groovy tabs. Hold everything in place. Now, when it comes to colouring in, depends what you've got, and I'm going to show you the difference. Linda has coloured hers in using the Faber-Castell Polychromos. So if you've got the Faber-Castell Polychromos, then the two colours we're going to need are 140 and 120. So I should write that on there, shouldn't I? 120, 140. Okay, so I've got those. I'm going to put those back in there. But if we have our Pergolina pencils, then we are going to need our B4, no, not before, and our B5. Okay, so I've got both of those. From our Colouring Essentials kit, we're going to need a Spot On sponge and a Dorso oil. So I've got that. I've got my blending pen with my nibs. Look at this, it's all building up, isn't it? I've got my pink mat, I've got that behind me. I'm not going to clutter up the table with that. Then we want to do some white work, so I'm going to use my Pergamano 4.5 and my 6mm. I've just seen Ken's comment, Dr. Paul is in the operating room. It does feel like an operating room, it really does. Getting all the bits together. I suppose they must go through this for operations, mustn't they? Then companion paper. So Linda's used Shenandoah, Indian Summer. So we'll come to that a little bit later. Now, if we get to the Pico cutting, and if you're at that level of being on the bus journey, then you're either going to need your Pergamano 2-needle bolt or your Pergamano 1-needle bolt with the straight basic grid. Okay, me personally, if I wanted to Pico cut around a straight line, then I would go with the 1 and the basic rather than using the 2-needle. Okay, and I'll show you the difference on that. So you've got that, got that, got that. I like to work with the 12x12 super foam because it gives me that larger area. And then our scissors of choice, so exclusive, ring lock, perg cutter, it's entirely up to you. Okay, so I've got all of those. And then the only other thing that I didn't put on the list because it is optional is glasses. But for me, it's definitely required this evening. Okay, so this is a nice little sort of checklist to have and keep in your file, and you can go back and print off all the previous ones from the previous craft alongs as well. Okay, all right, so let's declutter this a little bit now. But you can see you don't really need much, and it's all about being, depending on what part of your bus journey, your groovy bus journey you're at. Maybe you just want to trace it out, and maybe that's all you want to do, and you don't want to do anything else at all. Fine, perfect. There's no rules saying you've got to be here till whatever time we finish, and because we will never finish that beautiful piece of artwork in an evening. But what I hope to do is to be able to showcase different elements and different techniques, so that if we do it in a small area, then at your own pace, you can then go off and complete your piece of artwork. Okay, right. So let's declutter, because what we need first, okay, let me just, it's all going back in the operating box. I know. Sad, I know. Right, so what we're going to need to start with are, as I go on the overhead, and you don't watch me fumbling around. So we definitely need our pagoda plate, and I'm going to go with my PlateMate for A4 and A4 square grids, designed by the lovely Josie Davidson. And I see Jane's in the room, I've seen Josie's in the room, Glynis. So we're going to just attach that and bring all that together. Now I've put hand cream on this evening because my hands are quite sore. We're also going to need A4 parchment. And just for ease, all I'm going to do is I'm going to position my A4 parchment centrally across the PlateMate. Now, if you don't have the PlateMate, then the easiest thing to do, I would suggest, is that you trim your parchment down. I know Josie likes to trim her parchment down. And then you could just take some groovy tabs and wrap it around the outside. Okay, so let's line that back up like so. I'm going to take some groovy tabs. Now, don't forget, working with the groovy plate, you need to be able to see the word groovy the right way around. So we're going to attach that there. I bet everybody's just watching this evening, aren't they? And then they'll do it at their own pace. Okay, so that's attached nicely. Tumble dry sheet, we're going to give it a nice wipe all over. Okay, just like so. Now I've got to work out this camera. Back at the studio at Clarity headquarters, I've got a post-it note in front that tells me which way I need to zoom in and zoom out on the camera. So let's see, I've got a 50-50 chance of getting this the right way. And what is the betting? I'm going to go the wrong way. So let me see. Right, here we are. We're going to try it. Oh, I got it right. I got it right. Look at that. That wasn't bad, was it? Right. Okay. And breathe. So yeah, it's weird because Barb's left-handed, everything is in the opposite direction to what I have at the studio Clarity headquarters. So but I only pressed the buttons wrong a few times, and you know what, it's all part of the fun. We're here to just chill out and enjoy the evening. Okay. So very simply, what we're going to do first is, where's the piece of artwork from Linda? Okay. We're going to trace out the frame first, and all of the straight lines. So all of the straight lines we're going to do with the number 1 tool. Okay. Then the solid lines of all the vines, we're going to do those with the number 1 tool. And the only things we're going to do with the number 2 tool are the little leaves. But we'll come to that as we progress and work through the project. Okay. Now for me, with my glasses on, it says, who's looking cross? Can't see. Glynis is watching, she's very tired tonight. Oh, maybe an early night. Glynis. But I know you want to see what's going on, don't you? But it's great to have, I forgot what I was going to say. It just went out of my head because I'm trying to talk and read the comments at the same time. Right, come on, Churchy, let's get on with it. So I'm going to use my groovy guard to lean on, and all we're going to do is just trace out the lines. Now, there really is no thinking whatsoever, which is perfect for this evening. Okay, been a busy few days at Clarity. So what we're going to do now, see, as I said before, you could give this a go with the nested squares if you wanted to, but if your head isn't in the right place, like mine isn't, then I don't need to think about it because Linda has done all the beautiful hard work for it. All the beautiful hard work, that doesn't make sense, does it? Now, what you've got to be aware of is that you don't get carried away and you do this bit. If you do, it's not the end of the world. Okay. What big word do I missed out on? Or I didn't say a big word, did I? I'm sure I didn't. This screen's a little bit further away. So I'm glad I've definitely got my varifocals on. So somebody's looking cross. Someone's used a big word. Hope it was a nice big word. I'm sure it was. So now all we're doing is we're just going to get in the groove and chill. And you'll notice that as I'm doing this, I'm turning the work because I find it easier to let the lines come to me. Okay. And we just follow it through like so. And it doesn't take long. Just to get this lovely frame, it doesn't take long at all. I did, who was I on with? When I was on, I think it was on, where are we now? Friday. So it was on Wednesday evening. I think it was with Dean. Was it with Dean? I think it was. Where I was showing about using the number 6 ball tool and the mistakes that I used to make. And in relation to doing the white work. And I attempted to draw a straight line freehand. It was either with Dean or it was with Yanis. And you could see if you saw that part, then you'll know exactly why I couldn't get the hang of traditional parchment craft. I mean, I could have used a ruler, but that wasn't the point. Okay, so we've almost, I was just about to say, we've almost come full circle, but we've almost come full square. Okay. So apologies if you ask any questions and I miss them. As I say, up here at the studio, in Barb's studio, I haven't got a signal at all. So I'm going to have to keep checking. Just one, to make sure that I'm still broadcasting, and two, that you can still hear me. Okay. We're just going to follow it through. So do we have any newbies in the room? Anybody tuning in for the first time? So Julie says that she first time watching on Facebook, she usually watches on YouTube. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to an evening of, well, this evening could be an evening of anything, depends on what comes out of my mouth. Okay, so let's have a look. If I take a black piece of card and slide that under, see, so missed a bit there. Okay, so that wasn't by chance, it just missed it. So now, I mean, look at that frame. In a way, it's like a weird sort of, I turn it, see, it looks different. It's like one of those optical illusion type things, isn't it? Yeah. So that frame now, you can put anything in there. You could just colour the frames itself, similar to what so common. Similar to what Linda's done with that beautiful black and red sort of lattice type of thing. Really, Paul? It's beautiful artwork. Okay, I'm just going to stop talking. Okay, so don't panic if I go quiet. It's because, yeah. Right, so what I'm going to do now, take my Groovy Guard again, and I'm going to go through now and do all the leaves in this frame in the number 2 tool. Okay, and if we do those first, then hopefully we won't go over them with the number 1 tool. Okay, so it's just the little leaves on the vines. Good evening worldwide. I see we've got Shari from the US. Jennifer starting her groovy journey. Jennifer, how did you get started? Did you watch on Create and Craft? Have you been watching on YouTube? Pam's newbie. She usually catches up on YouTube at a later date, but you was determined to watch live tonight. Well, you may go back to watching it on catch up later. Live is definitely an experience, I can assure you. See, doing this Facebook Live, believe it or not, is in a way harder than doing TV. And the reason being is because I have to waffle and talk all the time. I don't have anyone to sort of bounce off of. I mean, I can see your lovely comments as they pop up, so we can interact there. But it's just my voice for the next couple of hours. So if you want, you could put some background music on and turn the volume down just whilst we trace out the design. It's entirely up to you. But yeah, I mean, doing live tea isn't easy. However, it's easier than doing what we're doing this evening, whether it be a craft along, whether we do in the shack with Barb, we do a Groovy Tuesday. It's really, I mean, I'm getting used to these sort of 2-hour stints. I did 10 to 11 and then 11 till 12 yesterday, so that was 2 hours. And then I did 2 till 3 and then 3 till 4. Maybe we should turn Groovy Tuesday into a 2-hour. We never, I say we, I never get the chance to do what I plan on doing. But you know what? It doesn't matter, does it? So, now hands up, who's doing this at the same time? Okay. Anybody? Anybody doing it? If I know that we've got friends at home doing it at the same time, then I can go at a nice sort of steady pace. I mean, it's not a rush. I mean, I'm not going anywhere, apart from bed later. But it's all about enjoying it, isn't it? Because I know many of you at home sort of just tune in, watch, see what's going on. Jane's got inky stuff out. Have you know, Jane? Yes, say I know many of you just watch of an evening and then go off and do it the following day. I sound like I've got a cold. It's probably the weather, I think. I'm probably talking for the past 2 days on TV. Sorry, Jean, am I going a little bit too fast? I can slow it down a little bit. That's not a problem. I'm just, I think you just get into a habit, don't you, of when you're doing it, of how calming and relaxing it is. Yeah, no, I think that's what I think. Just a croaky voice, and talking on TV for 4 hours. And the weather definitely makes a difference. It's been quite warm today down here in Kent. But I know sort of like north of this, I say north, north of the Thames, or north of London really, has had some really grotty weather. What's the weather been like with you today? I know we're from all over the place, aren't we? Okay, so I think that's all my little leaves traced out. I'm just giving it a little glance. So let's have a look. Pop that in there. So you can see the difference. I mean, that one's not even traced out, but it doesn't matter. It's not a problem. So now you can see the difference in the brightness of the line. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go in with the number 1 tool and trace out the rest of this frame. So you just take the number 1 for a nice crisp line and then just follow it round. When we go to the little, I wonder if these are grapevines or, I should have asked Linda, I didn't think. I reckon, should we say they're little grapevines? Do they have grapes in Japan, China? I mean, do they grow them or? I don't know. I think I just automatically think grapes, France, wines. Never really thought about that. They must do. Yeah, they must do. And relax. Okay, so just going to take it nice and steady and just trace out the lines. See, I mean, Linda's artwork, or her design as well, it just makes it so much more achievable to create beautiful pieces. Yeah, because I really, the only thinking part I've had to do so far is the number 1 tool and the number 2 tool. Okay, and that's what I love, a nice chilled Friday evening. I haven't got to think too much, because when we look at the piece of artwork that Linda's created, yeah, I mean, for me, just tracing out the design on clear parchment, it doesn't get any better than that. So Linda's just checked on Google. Thank you, Linda. They do grow grapes in Japan. Thank you. It's not something I'd ever thought about. I mean, I'm sure most countries grow grapes, but I think we just automatically presume, we just think of France and Germany, I suppose, because they're local to us here in the UK. But yeah. Thank you for checking that, Linda. See, look, that frame, it doesn't take long to start to build up, does it? Look, it's lovely. Really, really nice. Okay, so we're just gonna see, this is the thing with the craft along, is that the whole purpose is that we trace out and we go with the flow. Okay, now I know some of you may have already got a little bit ahead because you saw from the blog, Barbara's blog that I did earlier, of the piece of artwork that we're working towards. So maybe you've already traced out your line art, and maybe you want to give your colouring in a go for the first time. And I think this is what makes this design really pop when we look at the finished piece from Linda. That lovely Wedgwood style of blue and white, and then getting the shading of it sort of coming in, especially on the pagoda and the lovely bridge and the little boat and the trees and the mountains, and it just goes on and on, doesn't it? But we're going to have a look. We're not, obviously, you know very well that we'll never get to a finished piece. This would be like it'd be a 24-hour marathon, not a couple of hours craft along. I wonder how many people would keep going for 24 hours. Oh dear. So Janet said she traced it out today. Perfect. So you're just waiting patiently now for the colouring, or have you practiced the colouring yet, Janet? Maybe you can already do it. Maybe you don't need to practice. But it was a lovely technique that I picked up from Linda. So Linda sent me a little note to say that when she did the two different types of pieces so you could compare the different styles. And she said, let me just read it out so that I don't talk rubbish. I did the two so that you could compare. The demo version is really easy to do and so effective when you compare it to the painted one, which is much more work. So this is the easy one that we're working on this evening. When Linda did the shading under the squares, she added extra colour whilst the oil was still wet. On the outer frames, Linda used the number 1 tool to trace the double lines and lightly embossed between. Right, I'm not going to give this bit away. We're going to come back to that one because I thought this was very clever. See, I nearly gave it all away, didn't I? You got to keep me company. I'm not going to give you all the secrets at the top of the hour. You can just all switch off and go and watch whatever's on TV. No, you wouldn't do that to me, would you? I'm sure you're here for as long as I'm here. I hope so, anyway. Jilly is, aren't you, Jilly? Not that Jilly can talk to me with no signal. I am checking to make sure you can still hear me. I'm guessing you can still hear me. Nobody's admitted that they can't. Maybe nobody wants to say anything. Maybe like the peace and quiet. Oh dear. Eric's quite comfortable on the seat behind us. So let's check in on Eric, shall we? Let's just have a little bit of a rest. Eric. Oh, have a nice stretch. So it'll wake you up. Keeping me company, aren't you? Yes. There we go. You probably thought, what did you wake me up for? I was having a nice little snooze. Oh, such a good little cat. He's very vocal as well. And he likes you to share your dinner with him. Oh, bless him. Okay, so we're slowly working our way around. Yeah, we're going at a nice pace. I hope I'm not going too fast or too slow. But you know what? It's all about the process, isn't it? And just taking the time for an hour or so just to chill out, get in the groove, and ignore everything that's going. Apologies for the traffic going past. It's quite warm up here in the studio. I hope it's not too noisy of the traffic going past. But I'd let some air into the studio. I know when I started, when we went live, if you rewind back to the beginning, as I start talking, there's a motorbike goes zooming past. I thought, oh, that's great. Pete, Glynis hasn't bought anything for a while, so You haven't got to worry about any deliveries turning up. I've just seen Glynis's comment. Pete's in the other room listening. So no need to keep an eye on the postman, Pete, honest. Nothing is on its way to Glynis at all. Is that all right, Glynis? Was that the right thing to say? Right, I'm really enjoying this. Really sort of just chilling out for a couple of hours with good friends. Julie says she can't hear the traffic here, but she can hear the traffic where she is. And Julie only lives around the corner, literally, from Barb and Dave. So, was that all right, Glynis? Yeah. Let me know when Pete goes out the room. No, I'm joking. I remember it was during one of the Groovy Tuesday episodes, and I was helping pick some of the sale orders, and obviously I recognise names as I see the orders, and I saw Glynis's name a couple of times pop up on the sale orders, and I sort of said, "Oh, Glynis, your orders are on the way," and then she went, "Oh, Pete didn't know." So, but I'm sure Pete doesn't mind as long as it keeps you happy and out of trouble, Glynis. I'm sure it keeps Pete a happy man. Is that the right thing to say? Yeah. That give you some brownie points. So you can see all I'm sticking in the same area, and I'm just turning because I'm really comfortable with how I'm sitting, how I'm working. It's easier to just change the angle of your work. And for me, it makes it a little bit more enjoyable because it's not uncomfortable, it's not difficult. And as I said, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just following the design that the lovely Linda has created. And if you're new to the Groovy Journey, then just tracing out this line art, putting it on some companion paper, job done. It really is. Yeah, you don't have to do anything else to it if you don't want to. And I think that tells the story not only of the craft, but also the elegance, the beauty of the design. We've nearly finished this bit. It's only 7:45. That's good timing. Considering I waffled for a little bit. So what have we got? So we've only got to come from here now. We've only got to go around here. And then we're going to do the artwork in the middle. And then we're going to have a look at some colouring. Because I learned a few things when I was practicing the colouring. As I say, Linda creates the beautiful artwork. The lovely Lynn Jackson stages it and sends it to me with loads of little notes from both Lynn and Linda. Like, this is how I've done this is how I've done that. Because just like many of you at home, I'm still learning as well. I always learn different things. And for me, that's where Groovy Tuesday really comes into play, because I found out that you can do dorsing with an old pair of tights and cotton wool balls. I learned that you could take your blending pen to your Dorso crayons rather than scribble out onto a mix mat. See, that's what it's. I think that's what makes it so enjoyable. That you can still learn. You can still try different things. So yeah, I think we're always learning, aren't we? Well, I know I am. We're almost done on these lovely. I'm sure they are grapevines. But it only occurred to me now whilst tracing them out. Because I didn't look at them in detail. I was looking at the overall effect. Oh, I wonder whether. I wonder. I think maybe this is wisteria. Wisteria is quite oriental, isn't it? It's a bit more authentic than grapes, maybe. Yeah. I'm going to go for wisteria. Unless Linda tells me differently. And if Linda tells me that they're grapes, then they're grapes. But they could be either. They could be grapes or they could be wisteria. But now thinking about it, wisteria, yeah, Jane said wisteria is prolific in Japan. So I'm going for wisteria. I'm backtracking. They're not grapes. Or they could be grapes. But I'm heading more towards now wisteria. That makes perfect sense. I couldn't think of. I've got one in the garden, but it's only just come to me. Just that moment of wisteria or hysteria. Yeah, this is wisteria. I would say. Linda's probably shouting at the TV or sending me text messages, but I can't get any text messages. Yes, wisteria. How are we getting on? I need a slurp of coffee. This coffee's going to be cold now. It's cold, but it's wet. Well, it's not cold. It's wet and warm. Let's put it that way. Okay. Right. On the homeward run now on this little bit. And it was quite interesting when I was doing TV the past few days. Jane and Josie and Glynis, Linda and Lynn, all those lovely ladies that allow me to take their artwork and go on TV with it and to do all the prep as well and to write out so much detailed instruction. You see, that's like all the post-it notes that the ladies provide to me. They don't just give me the different stages, they tell me how they've got to those stages, what I need to do. And I always feel guilty that I don't get the opportunity to do it justice on TV. Because at the end of the day, it's a shopping channel. We're very fortunate to have that platform allowed to demonstrate. But as we all know ourselves, Parchment isn't a 5-minute demo, so to speak. Obviously, it's a lot quicker than it would have been traditionally. Okay, so let's slide that onto there now. So now we have a lovely frame. Okay, so you can put absolutely anything in the middle that you want to. The lovely Barb's Bijou Floral Alphabet would sit beautifully within that. It wouldn't look out of place at all. So just take the frame and enjoy it. So Japan's now gone to Australia. It's upside down. Right, so let's turn it around and let's bring in the artwork from Linda. Now, I would say Linda has kept it nice and easy for us, and she's traced the whole of the center of this image in the number 1 tool. Definitely the number 1 tool, okay, because we've got that lovely crisp line art. Whereas the piece that's created here, there is no white line art in this area at all. There's some white work, but there's no, it's not raised. Well, it is raised where it's been embossed white, but the line art isn't embossed. Okay. Right. Oh, I thought that was quick. I did that well. I forgot that was something there. Okay. I don't know if I know you can't see it, but the parchment is now starting to curl, and that's because of the heat in my hands. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a couple more groovy tabs, and I'm just putting it in all 4 corners now. Because obviously what we are doing is we are stretching the fibers of the parchment. Okay. And I would say the only piece that Linda did in that central scene with the number 2 is the clouds. So let's do the clouds first. Are you okay with this? So number 2 tool first, and we'll just do that cloud and that little bit of a shadow effect there. Okay. Now everything else we're just going to go in with the number 1. Okay. So we'll put the sun or the moon. Oh, where do I start? I don't know. There isn't a right place to start or a wrong place to start. I'm just going easy with the lines or the mountain range. See, if I didn't want to put the mountain in, I don't have to. I can do my own landscaping, so to speak. And if you wanted to introduce different types of hills, you could take the hills and the mountains from the starter kit as well. All right, let's put this beast of a mountain in now. Let's give it some height and dimension. And if when you're tracing out, you think, oh, I can't really see it clearly where the lines are, and just take the tool over, and Tina often does this, just to sort of pick out the line. I mean, my glasses are definitely helping me this evening. So there we go. And it doesn't matter. See, if I keep jumping out, do you think that's telling me something? Slow it. Slow down. Okay, so let's have a look at this lovely tree. See, all of a sudden, as you press into those grooves, the design starts to come to life. So easily. And I know I always say, if you can hold a pen, you can use the system, because it's true. It really is. The only thing you have to get used to, well, I'd say not that you have to get used to, but what you'll find for yourself is the amount of pressure. I can't, if it was sort of soft, medium and hard, I personally go in hard, okay? But I don't have to. I could go in with a more medium pressure. I'm still going to get that same line art. If I go in soft, then I'll probably need to go over the area the line art a couple of times. If you watch Tina when she's on TV, she goes backwards and forwards over the same area. And it's not because she's applying less pressure, it's just that that's what she does. See, for me, it's normally that one pass of the tool. Occasionally I'll go back, if I've missed a bit, obviously. But as I said the other day on TV, when I started doing Groovy, I grew up, it sounds weird, I grew up on the wooden tools. Sounds so archaic, doesn't it? Because we used to stock the Pergamano tools. Of course we did. But yeah, to me, it just made sense. Many of you may find that you put a pen grip on there to make it feel a little bit more comfortable. Me, I've never sort of found the need for it. But I know Tina does, and I'm sure some of our ladies too as well. But it's entirely up to you. So yeah, so I grew up on the wooden tools. I could use the Pergamano, the 1, the 1.5 just as well. But for me, it's the wooden tools. It's not strange, but it's just, I'd say it's what you grew up with, isn't it? There you go. Josie's got grips on her tools as well. I knew there was somebody else, but I can't remember. I'm sure all that. There we go. Glynis does, Josie does, and I bet Jane does as well. Yeah, just me then. There we go. Jane puts them on as well. But saying that, those ladies, Josie, Jane, and Glynis, do a lot more parching than I do. Definitely. When do I do it? I do when we're doing the craft along, I do Groovy Tuesday, and when I'm doing TV. The lovely ladies just do it all the time. So, Jill said that could be taken so many different ways. I got some lovely fat grips in Japan. Did you, Jill? Well, they grips off of Japanese men as they were giving you a cuddle. Do they do? See, I could be saying the wrong things. I'm not going to say anything. No. Stop waffling, Paul. Just get back to your grooving. So we're just going to trace out the, I was about to say honey blossom, the cherry blossom. Oh dear. I think I'm just going to, when we finish here this evening, I'm just going to shut the door here and just sleep, curl up on the floor. There. Eric will probably want some more food. Oh, Eric's gone. Obviously boring. Didn't even hear him jump down. He crept out, so I didn't call him back. Okay. So now the tracing out the line art, as I said, this is going to give you a beautiful piece of artwork, and you can stop at that point if you choose to. But I know that many of you have already taken that next step on your groovy journey and started to introduce colour. I mean, it's great when I do TV and we have viewers emailing in what they've created. It just really blows me away to see the lovely artwork from everybody. What's Ken say? Ken says, "Don't worry, Paul. If you nod off before the end, we'll quickly leave you to it." I tell you what, you will be switching me off. If I sat here and fell asleep, you will be muting that button instantly when I start snoring. It's like a foghorn, apparently. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm asleep. I don't hear it. Oh dear. Okay. Yeah, we're like a foghorn. Like the QE2 birthing in Southampton or something. Am I going too fast? Sorry. Yeah. I'll slow it down a little bit. There's no rush, is there? I just automatically, Julie says she can hear me from there. I haven't started snoring yet, Julie. Oh, you mean normally of a night time? So Julie lives around the corner. I mean, it's a long corner she lives around, so if she could hear me, that would be sort of like earthquakes down to snoring. So now we're on our final, we're now going to do some house building or pagoda building. Now all of a sudden we're going to construct a pagoda. I love this style and this particular design. And I thought this one was perfect for the craft along this evening, because once we have that initial line art, for me personally, the next step is the colouring in. Okay, and we've got the Pergocolour pens, and we've got the Pergolina pencils, and we also stock a selection of the Polychromo pencils. We've got the lovely luxury tin as well, but not essential. And so this evening I also wanted to show you how you can achieve the same result whether you have the Pergolina pencils or the Polychromos. Okay. Simon emailed in with the Folded Bells card on one of the birthday shows. Simon's a newbie and took the plunge by adding colour to the roses. I remember that, Simon. I remember that card, definitely. And it is about, I've always said this in the Groovy Tuesday episodes, when maybe somebody will ask a question whilst we're live, and can you do this? Can you do that? So rather than going straight into your artwork, I always have a spare piece of parchment to the side, so that I can practice it, because I don't want to spend the time tracing out our design and then go to do something, a different technique or a technique that I'm fairly new to, onto my finished piece, and then find that I don't like it, and then ruin it. So it's always, so I'll often trace out part of the design and then practice on that. And if I'm happy with what I've achieved, then I'll transfer it onto my finished piece. Okay. I reckon, I need to leave my glasses on, but I reckon that is all traced out. Let's have a looky. Let's have a little looky. So we're going to carefully remove the groovy tabs. So these are new ones, so they're not super sticky. They're super sticky, but not super sticky that leaves any residue. But they're new. Won't be new for long. They're not new anymore, are they? Okay. Right. Last piece for the big reveal. Ta-da! There we go. So you can see now, just let me get rid of the plate underneath, just so we can have a look in. And don't forget, on black, it will always be more flat, if that sort of makes sense. If I take, where is, if I take like a blue paper that Linda's used and slide that underneath, see how soft and delicate it is. So I know I say it all the time, but it really does amaze me by changing the background color, how it can soften or brighten or enhance what you're doing. So if this is your first time of using the Groovy system, and or maybe it's the first time of using these plates or any plates, that's it. Job done. It really is. You can put any colour. Let's have a look at Barb's stash of paper here. Barb's got what we've got here, Rainbow River. Let's have a look. So red might be a little bit. Oops, sorry. Oh no, red works. Let's look. Let's go yellow. See, on the camera, on the screen, it looks brighter on the camera than it does when I'm looking at it. So what's the next colour? A bit darker, go a bit green. You go half and half, couldn't you? That's quite good. Softer. So just by changing the colour of the background can definitely change the look. And if that's all you want to do with your piece of artwork, if you do not want to add anything else to it, that's it, job done. The only thing I would say, or I would suggest, if you wanted to, is if we go back to the plate itself, just to make it easy, I would trace out those four corners exactly as they come, and then you've got a solid line around the outside that you can trim down with craft knife and ruler, or a guillotine, or a paper trimmer, if you wanted to, or just cut your piece of artwork down to a square. It's entirely up to you. Okay, let me just have a slurp of this cold coffee. Lubricate the tonsils, so to speak. Not that I've got any anymore. Different story. Okay. Right. So now I want to show the colour. Okay, and for the colour, we're going to work on the back. Back is always safest for me, and it's whether we go for. If you've got the expensive polychromos, that's fine. If you have the, I mean, I'm saying expensive and cheap. I mean, that's just to determine the price point. It's not to say that the quality, I mean, obviously there is a difference in the quality of the LEDs. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't be the prices that they are. But what I'm saying is, stupidly and going around the houses, don't let it put you off thinking, I haven't got the polychromos, so I can't get the same results. If you've got the pergoliners, you can get the same results. If you didn't have those, and you only had those, and you work with those, nobody is going to know any different unless they've done the same piece and they've no, you really can't. Seriously, I'm not saying that just for the fact, because I've got the polychromos, I've got the pergoliners, we sell the pergoliners, we sell the polychromos, but it's all about going with what you have. And I know many of us at home, I've just got the pergoliners. Okay, so let me show you how we're going to do this. And I did this on TV but maybe you missed the show. So when we have a look at, let's have a look at Linda's artwork to start with. Okay, let's move these pencils out of the way. So Linda has used Faber-Castell polychromos. Okay, so when she's done that, she's used Faber-Castell 120 and 140. Okay, now when I did this was just a couple of layers. You just slowly build it up more and more and more. Okay, but for me, what I want to show you is that with the pergoliners, you're just going to use the B4 and the B5. But look, it's still, there's slight hue differences in the different shades of blue. But who's going to know? You can just change the colour of the blue background to maybe a darker shade of the blue. So it's all about having a play. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go with the pergoliner pencils. Okay, because I know that's what many of you will have at home. And we're going to work on the back. So what we're going to do first, I know I say what we're going to do, just do it, Paul. Don't say what we're going to do. I need to tell you what we're going to do, don't I? Okay. Is it an expensive haul or a quality one? Oh, that's funny. Okay, so I'm going to take the B4 and I'm just going to put my glasses back on. Let me put, this might be, would this help if I put that onto there? Yes, that's better, isn't it? You really can't see where that blue is. Okay, so all I'm doing now is just putting a light layer of blue down. So this is the B4. I'm not going on heavy. You know me, I don't profess to having great colouring in skills. But you don't need to. It's just, if you follow a few tips and tricks, you don't need to be a fantastic colourer or a colourist or whatever you want to, whatever the technical term is. Okay, so we're going to put some colour on there. Then let's do the pagoda first. Okay, so we're going to put colour there. Actually, we're going to colour the whole thing in with a light blue. We're putting like an underlay, an undercoat down. Okay, so let's go all the way over without thinking about what we're doing. And don't forget, if we go over the edges, what do we use? Our amazing eraser pencil. And that is going to come in very handy tonight with these tired eyes of mine. But even if my eyes were tired, I'd still be doing it the same like this anyway. Okay. Right. Okie dokie. Spot on sponge. Blending pen. And a blending nib. Oh, and our Dorso oil. Definitely need our Dorso oil. Okay. So, nib and the pen, like so. Some Dorso oil. Just a little. I always say just a little bit. It just blips out, doesn't it? You'll never get just a drop out of the bottle. Okay. Now I know, again, from experience, I just need to tap that oil with the pen. And I know as well that there'll be too much oil on there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tap it. I can see it already. I'm going to blot it on my sponge. But I'm also going to go over here first. So you can see that. Can see, yeah, I can see. I mean, all I'm doing is just putting the oil. I'm just trying to remove some of the oil from the nib. I mean, that's going to dry and evaporate. So like that magic. Isn't it? Okay. Groovy God. So what we're going to do now is blend out the pigment of the pencil. Now, when I'm blending, can we see, is that okay? Do you want me to come in closer, or are we happy with the distance of the camera? So what I'm going to do now, I bet everyone's gone home. I think everyone's gone to sleep. Can't hear any snoring though. So what I'm doing now is I'm just blending out the base coat, basically, and just smoothing out pigment. So when I'm doing this, I'm not putting any pressure on the nib, I'm not putting any pressure. I'm just gently stroking the parchment as if I was using a ball tool. Okay. But look how far the oil's going. And you know what? Just to make it easy on myself, I'm going over the lines. Okay. I'm not being too precious with my colouring in, because I know, is that lazy? Is it lazy because I know that I can correct it? Oh, was Mary, you watching with subtitles? Oh, I dread to think how it translates my South London comments. Maybe I'll have to try watching that at some point with subtitles. No, I don't. See, my voice, when I hear, I'm sure it's the same for everybody. I know it's not just me. I don't like the sound of my voice. But and I'm sure a few people agree. So when I first started doing the YouTubes, and I had to watch it back to learn from it. Okay, because I could be saying absolutely anything. Okay, and I just need to, when I was first doing it, I just needed to check up what I was saying made sense, how it sounded, and everything else. So for the first probably couple of months, I would have to put up with listening to my own voice. My other half probably says, I have to put over it every day. But now I don't. And I'm not saying it's because I know what I'm talking about and I know what I'm doing. Far from that. What I'm saying is that I had to do that to learn how to change different things. And I think that helps to improve sort of like the technique, what you're doing, all that type of stuff. Just looking for an eraser pencil. Here we go. Just found one in Barb's stash. So what I'm going to do now, do I need to do it now? No, I'm going to do it afterwards. Brush. Right, there's got to be a brush. I'm at Barb's studio. There's got to be a stencil brush here somewhere. Oh, a signal's just kicked on my phone and said that I'm now live on YouTube for an hour. Well, that's nice. Behind you, of course. Where else? Look, there's a bouquet of stencil brushes. How can I not find the brush in Barb's place? I want it to. Oh, it says falling off the chair. Right. Okay. So what I'm going to dust with a brush. Okay, so let's have a look. So when we turn this over, we have a solid blue. Okay, Eric's done a runner. I think he's gone out to check on the nightlife outside because it's dark now. Can't believe it's 20 past. Driving back from the TV yesterday, and I noticed it was starting to get dark about 7:45, and it was sort of like getting darker. And but there was some beautiful sunset as I was driving. Look, I had a brush already. I didn't check me operating tray. But yeah, 20 past or 25 past 8, and it's pitch black out there, which is weird because I think because we're having such this hot, warm weather, you automatically think it's still summer, so the night should still be lighter, but they're not because it's now autumn. Okay, right, what am I doing? So let's have a look. So when we have a look at the piece that Linda's created, okay, so what we're going to do now, you can definitely see this is definitely a brighter blue compared to the blue that Linda's used. Okay, so what I found was, I'll pop that to one side, is that where we've put our blue down, we're now going to take our B5 and we're going to scribble very lightly over the top. Okay, so we're just using the B5 now. I'm going to come down as far as here. I'm not going to go any further than that. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to try and remember to stop there. Okay, just like so. And I'm going over the edges. I'm not precious. Okay, then I'm going to take my blending pen. And then I'm now going to blend B5 into the B4. Okay, you can go in whatever, but I mean, you can see already, can't you, on the back? And sometimes, I know I do, sometimes I forget that we can blend two colours together. I mean, they're blending pencils. I mean, the name's in the title, really, isn't it? I always get those words. I can't remember what the proper saying is. I always get confused when I'm talking about starter kit. I say, well, it's a starter kit, but it's in the, what is that? Someone can tell me, I'm sure they can, what the proper saying is, if you even have any idea what I'm waffling on about. Oh dear. In my head, I know what I want to say. Oh dear. So now what we're doing, we've put that purple, or that B5, because it is like a purpley colour, on top, and I'm just picking up a little bit more oil. We're picking up oil. Oh, perhaps we use the right size of the sponge. That's better. I was using the other side of the sponge. I'm thinking, why is it not wet? So it dried out. So we're now combining the two colours together. Okay, there's way too much oil on there because what it's doing is it's moving it around too much. There we go. Starting to work. Not that it wasn't working, but you know what I mean. If there's too much oil on there, then it just moves the colour around too much. So just take a brush. Okay. So now when we turn this over, okay, we definitely got a different shade of blue now. So the B4 now looks like a turquoisey colour. But by introducing the B5 has changed the shade of it. Okay, so if I now bring in Linda's piece, we can see how we're starting to build up towards that. And if I bring in, let me show you, if I bring in this bit here, which is the Pergolina pencils, okay, and we turn that over, you can see we're not far off of that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a piece of kitchen towel and I'm just going to blot. Not that there's any moisture in the parchment, but I just want that oil to be gone. Look, there's nothing on there, but the tissue or the kitchen towel will just help that. Okay. So what I'm going to do now I'm going to use the eraser pencil and I'm just going to tidy up around the outside, because now we're going to get more precise with our colouring. Okay. So tidy up our edges, so to speak. And as I say, I mean, this really, it's not difficult, it's very achievable. It just takes a little bit of patience in order to build up. Okay, oh, here comes Eric. I'm still here, Eric. You want to come and join the party? Eric, can you hear him? Eric, Eric, come on in. Come on in. Are you coming? Eric, do you want to come say hello? You want to come say hello? Oh, come on in. Okay. Ooh. Eric, you want to come and join the party? Look, we're colouring in. Want to say hello? Say hello, Eric. Oh, gorgeous boy. Gorgeous boy. I'm still here. Yes. Say hello, Eric. Look. Give everyone a little wave. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Probably think I'm mad. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go? Yeah. Bless him. Okay. Where was I? Right. So we've tidied up the outer part now. Okay. With the eraser pencil. Just like so. Dusting it off with a brush rather than your hand. And now we're going to take the B5 and we're going to start to build up that colour. Okay, and we're going to come in from one direction first. So when we're doing this, we need to establish what side is the light and what side is dark. So when we look at Linda's piece, we can see the dark is all down this side, the shadow type of effect. Okay. So because we're working from the front, so if I want to replicate that, then I'm going to do it on this part here. Okay. And all I'm going to do now is it's the same technique as if we was doing white work. We're now going to start to flick inwards, and I'm not really putting pressure on, I'm just flicking. Okay, like so. I'm starting at that point and I'm just working my way in. It's all right, those light, Barbara said, those light feathery strokes. You can see it already, can't you? Sort of starting to take shape. It really doesn't take long. And I'm going, like I say, I'm going on light first. Okay, just like so. And then this one. And I'm not going to do this one because I want to show you the comparison. So when you're doing this at home, if you decide to replicate this, then at least you've got that idea of how it works. Whether you're going with the polychromo, with the polychromos, it's the same technique. They're just different shades of blues. Okay, so I would always say if you're going to go with the polychromos, then you go with your light one first and then your dark one. So your 140 is the equivalent, believe it or not, as the B4. Okay, and then your 120 is the equivalent of your B5. Okay, that's the way that I'm looking at it. All right. Oh, I've just had a text from Jilly from an hour ago. The sound is good. Thanks, Jilly. Maybe everyone in the area has gone to bed and all of a sudden the signals are kicked in. Very strange. Okay. Which I'll probably come out of the studio once I've switched everything off and I'll get loads of text messages. Somebody wanted to know this, somebody wanted to know that. But I know that we've got a fantastic design team in the room that would answer any questions when I've got my head down. I'm not seeing any things saying you can't hear me, so far so good. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's turn this over now, and so we can start to see how the color, the darkness, is coming in from this side. Okay. Now, if we want to help that darkness, then there's a couple of things we can do. Okay. Because I've blended all of that with the same colour, okay, I would go for the pink eraser, and I can just very lightly remove some of the colour in the middle area. You see that? Yeah, I think you can see that, can't you? So very, very lightly. And what it's doing, it's creating automatically the light area, isn't it? In the center. So just, you don't want to take all the color off, but you may just want to help it out a little bit. So now we'll turn that over. So you can see how now it's starting to be lighter in that center. If you wanted to, you can enhance it with maybe just one layer of white work. So to do that, for me, I'm going to bring my pink matte into play. If you haven't got the pink matte, you can use your black matte. Okay. But for me, it's the safest option at this time of night. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the 6mm ball tool, and I'm swinging from the chandeliers. No, I'm swinging the ball tool backwards and forwards. Yes, Eric, I'm swinging the ball tool. He's sitting on the floor having a good old clean. Not the floor, he's preening. So all I'm doing is, let me show you on a clear piece of parchment. That may help. Okay, so what I'm doing, let me explain it this way. This is the parchment, okay, and I'm swinging like that on the parchment. So what it's doing, I'm doing that. So I haven't worked it, tongue dry shit. That really makes a difference. So by swinging like that on the parchment, I get a softer blend. Okay, not blend, it's not, well, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm swinging like that. And I'm just doing it in the middle, swinging in the middle. Okay. Oh, goodness me. This could look absolutely no. You're fine. You can see already, can't you? And we're working on the back. So now when I turn that over, you've definitely got, yeah, you can see that, can't you? Let me put the blue paper underneath rather than. There we go. See, and then when we bring Linda's piece in, we're not far off, seriously. It's just got a little bit more whiteness to it. And even though we've already put the colour down, so now I would go in with the 4.5, and let me just, I'm going to go on a little bit more heavier than what I would do normally, just so that you can see the difference. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, and I know this is allowed, you could just do a white pencil. Take out the blue in the middle. I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you the difference. Okay, ball tool, and in order to do that, I need to be on a hard surface to remove the colour. Hang on a minute. Yes, Eric, I said hang on a minute. Come up and join the party. Eric. You've had loads of food this evening. Okay, so I need a, let me just stretch. Hang on a minute. What's up, Eric? What's the matter? What's happening? What's occurring? Come on then. Come on. Come up on the chair. Come on. You probably think, who are you talking to? You're not talking to me. You're talking to yourself, aren't you? And you're going, how can you be talking to somebody? There's nobody else in the room. Okay. So I'm going to remove some colour here. For me, I tend to go more with the white pencil. I know it's a little bit harsher, not harsher. It just takes it off quicker. Okay. So if I turn this over now, even just by taking the colour out, the blue out, I've got that. So these two here, I've used the ball tool. This one here, I've just taken the blue out with the white eraser pencil that needs sharpening. But I can intensify that whiteness. I'm not going on heavy, I'm just going across both layers. Both layers, yeah. Like so. So now, there we go. Here's Ragnar. I'm sure this is Ragnar. Let me just have a little looky. See who this has come to say hello. Is it Ragnar or is it somebody else? Who is this at side the door? I'm going to put the wrong light on. Somebody came to say hello. It is. It's Ragnar. Come on in. Where's your brother? Yay. Ragnar came to say hello, and then he's gone again. He's probably waiting for his din-dins. Oh dear. Okay. Eric, Ragnar. Okay. I haven't lost the plot, honestly. I'm not just calling out random names. Although I could be, no. Eric was on the chair, and then Ragnar, his lovely little twin brother, came in to say hello because you was asking about Ragnar, and he made an appearance. So it's that positive thinking. Hadn't seen him for a couple of days. I saw him the other day. He brought me a present early one morning when I was drinking the coffee in the garden. He brought me a little furry friend. But and then obviously I was up at TV, so got home last night and he couldn't see him, but he's back. He's come back to say hello. So that's good. That's very good. Okay, where was I? Right. Colouring. See, I said to you we wouldn't get very far on this craft along this evening, but you know what? I hope it's just about looking at different techniques, isn't it? Here comes Eric again. Oh dear. Okay. So we've had a look at the colouring. So let me go to a piece that Linda has completely finished. Now there was a top tip I wanted to give you. I don't want to give you. Linda wants to share with you on this frame. Okay. See the double white lines. Let me come in on camera number 3. Right, let it focus. Right, so you see the white frame around the outside. Okay. So that is done with a combination of white work and pencil, white pencil. Okay, so this is what Linda says, or this is what Linda told me, okay, with the notes that she sent me. So Linda said, on the outer frame, I use the number 1 tool to trace the double outlines. What are you doing, Ragnar? I lightly emboss between the double outlines once only, and then coloured it in with a white pencil. The reason I do this is because embossing between thin double outlines like these is tricky and notorious for buckling the parchment. This way is so much easier and risk-free. There we go. So what Linda is saying, let me just show you on one piece. Okay, so I'm definitely going to bring my, Eric, what are you up to? I think it's Ragnar. I think Ragnar's trying to get my attention. Right, I'm going to go with the 4.5 tool. Okay. I dread that he's going to come flying over the screen in a minute, bless him. Now, for me, okay, personally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler, okay, and I'm going to put my ruler, this is my piece, yeah, I put my ruler, and I'm going to position the ruler just outside, because I'm using the 4.5, let's have a look. I'm going to go like this, and then I'm just lightly going up and down on the pink mat. Okay, and what this is doing is it's putting a very light undercoat down. You see that? Let's put, no, that's no good. It needs to be, you see it on the black? Yeah, you can definitely see the difference, can't you? So for me, that's what I would do, because my hand isn't that steady. Okay, so, and I'm impatient. So for me, just doing this. Now I'm going to prove a point of, no, I'm not going to prove it. Linda is saying that going over that area constantly, because it's such a tight area, it will cause the parchment to buckle, and I totally get that. By using the ruler and a light undercoat of white work, like so, I'm going to ask, I know Linda's not in the room at the moment. What am I going to ask? Would anybody else do it this way? That's what I was going to ask. Would anybody else do it this way? Or, see, because that piece of artwork from Linda looks as if it's all been embossed, but it hasn't. No. So now, in order to add the colour, I need to remember to remove the pink mat, definitely. And I'm going to use the ruler as well, with my glasses on. Glyn is saying she would too, and Jane would too. Night night, Josie. Sleep well. So now I'm going to use the pencil with the ruler. I'm going to. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But I think this is definitely a good tip to share with you from Linda. I'm so glad Linda does these lovely notes for me. It really does help. And also, you know what? We can have a conversation over the phone and or FaceTime and everything else, and I'll take it all in. I can write some little notes, but I'll forget. Ooh, what's that we got? Oh, we got a moth. But I would forget. So I've now got these notes constantly from Linda in my emails. So it's easy for me now to print it off and then give you that same information. So now when we turn this over, look at the difference. And there's no buckling. Okay, so that is a really good tip. So if I take the blue underneath and we bring that in, so I would say that would be a little bit more whiteness. I'd go on heavier with the pencil, use the Dorso oil to blend it, the blending nibs as well, and then you'll get that lovely whiteness and the look that it's been embossed. Okay, so when you have a look at this piece of artwork that Linda's created, what we've just done here on the pagoda is replicated all around the frame. So it's just having that lightness and the darkness. And this picture is on Barb's blog if you want to look at it in a lot more detail, so that you can see, because exactly what we've done there is just repeated in various different areas, and it's all about the sort of the light and the shade, and to give the depth and to come in on the under and around those frames to make it look more dimensional. What's Eric got? It's Ragnar. Ragnar's being a naughty boy. He wants my attention. So, and then a little bit of white work in those leaves. Let's do that. Let me just show you the white work in those, if you want me to. And then I think I need to go and feed Mr. Ragnar, because I think he's a little bit hungry. Okay, so for these tiny little leaves, I'm going to put my glasses on, definitely. And I'm going to go with my number 3 tool. Let's take my Groovy Guard. And all I'm going to do is I'm just sort of going backwards and forwards, like so, on there. Now, the amount of pressure that I am applying to the pink mat is definitely a lot harder than I would be if I was using the black mat. Okay, and then I'm going to take the number 2 tool and just go on again. Now, what you would do, you would start here, for example, Go all the way around your frame, go all the way around the second frame. And by the time you've done that, then you would go back in with your second, with the number 2 tool, because that would have been plenty of time. Plenty of time, yeah, plenty of time for it to rest in between the layers. Okay, so if I turn that over now, and these little tiny little leaves are a great way of learning your white work, because it's not too daunting. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in a piece that Linda is going to, we'll look on the back, dropping paper, excuse me. So we're looking on the back so you can see exactly what Linda has done on this piece. So the blues that we've done on the pagoda, the mountains, the hills, you can see where the shade has been added, where the darkness has been added to the frame, the white pencil line. And we've obviously gone for the lovely blue tones for that lovely willow type effect, isn't it? Wedgwood. Let me turn it the right way so you can see. Maybe you want to sort of take a screenshot of that if you're able to, I don't know. But if I keep it there long enough, then at least you can sort of see how that has developed. And then when we turn it over, we then get that lovely look. So what Linda's done, she's taken elements from the companion plate, but for me, I would stick with the pagoda plate and just put those elements in if it's the first time of doing it. It's all about having a play and see what you can come up with. I'm going to say there's no right and wrong. There is a right and wrong, obviously, but sometimes we have to learn what's right and what's wrong. And sometimes what's wrong can be right. Does that make sense? Because I often find when we're doing Groovy Tuesday on a Tuesday and somebody asks a question and say, can you do this? Can you do that? I'm more than happy to give it a go. If I've got stuff near me, I'll give it a go. And sometimes you'll find that, you see, there's Ragnar. See, Ragnar. He's investigating. Look, there he is. Can you see him? That way. Hang on. That way. There he is. Ragnar. Come here. Wait. Come here. Leave Mummy's paper alone. Come on. No, he's just sitting on the shelf saying, go away. Sometimes where we play, we can actually learn more. And sometimes we can learn not to do it again as well. And that's what I enjoy about the Groovy Tuesdays, but to have the interaction like we had this evening, of being able to ask questions, experiment. And I'm more than happy to give it a go and see what happens. So I'm not scared. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, I would never do it on Linda's masterpieces that she staged for me. I'd always do it on my piece. And then, oh yeah, maybe I change it this way, maybe I change it that way. So, so yeah, thank you for this evening. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a real sort of nice, chilled out. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. Don't forget, if you've missed any of the previous episodes, he's being a naughty boy. If you've missed any of the previous episodes, you can go back to our YouTube page and you can watch all of the previous crafts alongs with myself and Barbara. It's a fast library. All the shacks are on there. There's step-by-step tutorials. We've got the Groovy Tuesday. There's loads. You can literally spend weeks and months just watching different tutorials on there. So thank you very much. Thank you to Gilly for this evening. Thank you to the design team. As always, words do not express the help. It really does. So where are we now? We're Friday evening. It's 5 to 9. I will be back in Groovy Tuesday with you on Tuesday. And don't forget to check out the Clarity Matters blog on Sunday with another two fantastic projects from Glynis using what tool was we using? We was using the Pergamano Cross tool, that's right. And Glynis has done 2 step-by-steps. And then on Tuesday we carry on with the next tool, which I can't remember what it is. I'll look at that on Tuesday. So, excuse me, enjoy the weekend, whatever you're up to. Hope the weather's meant to be nice. It's meant to be nice down in Kent. So maybe take the dog for a walk, don't know yet. We shall see what happens. So enjoy the rest of your evening, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll hopefully see you on Tuesday for Groovy Tuesday. Take care now. Bye-bye. Now, where's that mouse gone? No, not that mouse, Ragnar. There it is. The mouse for the computer. Night, night, everybody.